So we started this adventure.
We do choose our adventures all the time.
So we're going to put a hydrant inside the corner of the building right here. So we're running the water line back to our main line, which is just behind here, next to that other hydrant. Next to that hydrant.
We have solar panels that are just hanging out, not being used. They're not even connected.
Yeah,
so we want them connected. We want them to be into our power room.
So as we do this work, we're going to do the conduit down to the shop so that we can run the solar power down to the shop where the battery system will be, and bring power back up for a small panel for lights and an outlet or two in this shelter, as well as bring it over here for the coop. Probably going to rebuild the coop and build a more permanent coop in place. And we would want to have some basic power out there, maybe an outlet or two and a light. Nothing crazy.
As we got started getting ready to build this animal structure, it was exactly at the time when construction materials prices was skyrocketing through the roof. The original design of this building was to have a simple double-pitched steel roof with OSB underlayment. Once we had begun price shopping our materials list, we quickly decided that it would be worth considering alternative methods as well. We decided it would be more cost-effective to do post frame with rough sawn board and batten versus traditional framing and sheeting with OSB and then installing siding. The roof was going to require OSB sheathing and then steel roofing on top of that, and at the time, OSB sheathing for the roof was over $80 a sheet. Now, right about that time, I was also price shopping our solar panels and solar system. And I had had a discussion with the wholesaler that we bought our solar panels from, and he showed me a horse shelter that was built using solar panels as the finished roof surface. After seeing that shelter in person and comparing the prices, we decided to go that route with this building as well. That meant, instead of being a double-pitched roof with OSB underlayment and steel roofing to finish, it was going to be a single-pitch roof with the solar panels sealed and fastened together and then attached directly to the framing. It was never our intention to use this roof to harvest solar power. However, we were able to buy 3-year-old used panels for less money than just the steel roofing, not even considering the cost of the OSB plywood that would have to go underneath. From that perspective, the ability to harvest any solar energy from this roof is completely bonus. So now that the shop is up and our battery room is almost finished, we'd love to get these panels online and start taking advantage of that bonus power.
Chance of rain turned into definite rain. I've just got to get past the coop and up here to this hydrant to get farther, so I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow when I can open the gates and move the pigs up and make sure everybody's secure while I dig this out. Just got to get another 30 feet or so and we'll be there to where we can tie onto the main line to get this hydrant run inside the building, where we can always have a frost-free water inside the corner of the building. It's been raining a little bit the last day or two. Rained a bit this morning again, so we've got enough moisture in the ground that I'm gonna go and see if I can blade a spot or two on the road just to help make it easier for Ola to drive her little car to and from town. This ground gets so hard when it dries. My tractor can't do anything to it because I don't have any downforce on the rear blade. So it's just the weight of the blade floating. And when it gets really dried out, it's just too hard to get into, and then it just wears out the blade and the machine. So instead of that, got enough rain, it'll soften up. Hopefully we can push some in.
The rain had made the pasture and pasture road too muddy to continue doing the waterline trench. However, we'd had just enough sun to dry up the main roads enough that they could be bladed. So I exchanged the rototiller for my grading blade and the pallet forks for this compaction roller. My little tractor and the grading blade behind it are nowhere near big enough to do a legitimate grading on this road. However, with the right amount of moisture, that blade can be pretty effective at moving material around and filling in some ruts, taking off the high spots, knocking it into the low. Since blading like that tends to leave the road surface relatively soft and loose, I thought it wouldn't hurt to bring the roller down and try compacting it as I went to make sure that it didn't get too loose in case we got more rain. I certainly didn't want the roads to get worse if it did rain. I just wanted to try to help with the ruts and pack it in. There's a good chance that the county will come out and grade this road sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks. However, they have many roads in the county that are dirt and gravel roads that require grading. And those roads have a lot more traffic and are major or minor thoroughfares. This road, however, is extremely low on the priority list, simply because there's only a couple of us that live up here, and otherwise it's simply a recreational access road. That would essentially liken this road to a 3-mile deep cul-de-sac in an average neighborhood. From my driveway all the way out, the road is in pretty good condition and is very drivable. So to take a couple extra hours today and blade it off just to make it a little bit smoother on my vehicles as we drive in and out is all the better for me.
Roll up my window, don't know where I'm bound. Driving by the river, there's a hole in the ground. Hand-me-down t-shirt, slicking on my back. Heading for a fall. Had to get up to crawl. I ain't got no time to stall. On my way to nowhere.
worst spot in this road this year is beyond my driveway and is between me and the trailhead at the BLM parking lot. That means it's not a problem for me or my wife. However, our friends and neighbors have to get through it in order to get to their homes. That's the spot that we'd been working on earlier in the year, and now we've just been waiting for it to simply dry out. As you can see, it is drivable, but it is extremely rough. You don't need four-wheel drive to get through it, but you definitely need a high-clearance vehicle. As I blade across this, taking off the high spots, you can see that it immediately exposes a very dark, wet layer underneath those high, crusty ridges. Therefore, I don't expect my efforts today to do all that much in terms of making this road permanently better. However, I think I can flatten it down enough to make the drive a lot easier on the vehicles that have to go through it every day. There's still just so much moisture in the subsurface layers that it's going to take a lot longer for this to finish drying out and get firm enough that we can actually build the road surface back up appropriately. In fact, as I drive across it with the tractor, I can actually see the ground deflect underneath my tires and then springboard back up once the tire weight has come off of it. Essentially, this portion of the road has about a 6 to 10 inch hard light concrete crust that's resting right on top of a wet sponge.
Well, that's going to do it here for now. Managed to get it all pushed down pretty well, and the high spots pushed down, the rocks pushed in. As I go across it, you can see spots where my tires come through, right in through here. It's alligator really bad. There's a bunch of cracks in it. As I go across it, it's just spongy underneath, and you can see the whole crust heave down and come back up. And that causes that little alligator patch of crust. Still plenty of water down inside that road, but it's a heck of a lot flatter now and make it a lot easier to pass through. Hopefully it can dry out for another little while. Once it gets dried up good, hopefully then we can get some aggregate put on top of this and have this thing all wrapped up. All right, today's the day we're gonna get it in here and connect it. We gotta come from here, got the coiled up underneath the machine. We've got to make that last little bit into here to this hydrant. Our main line comes down this path and it comes right down past this. I know we didn't go very far away from the main line with that hydrant, and then it should come down through here somewhere. But our goal is to get from here to that hydrant and just tee in where that on that same service connection from the main line. As we get close here, we should find our buried pipe ribbon that is about 18 inches above the main line, and then we can make sure and just work our way easy to it so we don't hit it. Put a shut-off valve there, huh? Bright pink, right? It's reflective silver with blue. It's like really shiny, reflective, and it says buried water line. It's like 2-inch wide ribbon. If we tear through the ribbon, that's okay. That's what it's there for. Because it's like this far above the pipe. It's there to be, if you see it or catch it, then you know you're getting close. You're gonna have to, when you do it, you're gonna have to exaggerate what movement. Okay, so like if you're just holding here, then I'm good. I'm gonna go as I'm going, and if I need to go that way a little bit more, then do this so that I know forward.
I'm getting you way too deep.
Okay. Is that ribbon on the back of that club? The big chunk? It just looked like something shiny on the back of that. No? I only caught a glimpse of it, so I didn't know if it was just wet and reflective or if it was... Okay. It just looked like a stripe across there, and I was like, ah! No? Okay. Let me take some of this right here. Tank, there it is. Okay, so let's find where that tank comes through. Let's find the angle and direction of that tank. Alright, grab your shovel, put your eyes on, and we'll do it. This is your opportunity to let out some aggression. Get in there and get violent with it. Get that, I know, but get in there and get violent with it. Get that shovel in the ground and break it loose and teach it a lesson or two. Every time that you got frustrated with me for getting frustrated with you, you just think about that, let it out on that dirt. Anytime somebody was mean to you, think about that and just put it to them right here in the dirt. Alright, clear that out around the pipe real good there. Yeah, right there. Knock that in and pull it back far enough that I have gaps for my tooth to come down through, and then I can pull that whole mess of stuff out of there. As long as I can see the pipe clearly, then I can guide it pretty well. And you can help make sure I don't get too close. Let me pull a hole there where you're standing. Okay. Expose all that pipe, everything you're standing on. I'm gonna back up and connect these trenches, okay? So you get all of that dug into that hole, scrape down the pipe, expose the T, expose the fittings, gravel, all of that, okay? Who? That little white goat, you think? Is she the one screaming? All right, let's go look. Let me get this connected and we'll go look. Sounds like we've got a goat going into labor. Yearling mom, first timer. So we're gonna go check her out, make sure she's doing good. She's dropping right into pasture. She look good? Is she starting to clean the baby?
No.
Not yet?
It's still coming out.
Oh. She's just breached and she's standing, huh? Everything look okay? Looks like, yeah, it looks like feet and a snout. Herd's all standing guard. It's great. Yeah. The head clear? Down to the neck or not yet? Hard to tell, huh? Yeah? She's giving some good grunts. Looks like she's still trying to, yeah, she's still trying to clear the crown of the head. You're almost there. There you go, lay down and push. There you go. She's a little bit skittish anyway. So I don't want to spook her, but I want to make sure things are good. That's a good looking baby. Right there. We'll see if she's got another one in there. I think we'll give her some time and some space and let her do her thing. She did really fine with that first one, so let's give it time. This is the little baby. Got some really cute patterns. It's a little boy. Man, he's cute. Hi, buddy.
Well, mister, welcome to the world. You are cute. We usually get black and white goats, but this time we got a little bit more multicolored, and we're pretty pleased with this little guy. He is darling. I love his stripe on the back of his back and his colored ears. He is very, very cute.
Everybody's curious and cautious, making sure baby's okay. The whole herd's looking after him. Hi guys. You learn quick on the mountain, huh, buddy? Well, he's 3 days old now, and I had to come and find him. He was hunkered in that tree way up against the boulder, all protected. Hidden up nicely for Mama to go browse, but always worry when they're out here. And the first time mom, you always worry how attentive they are. Yeah, come on. There's Mama. You want to go down to her? What?
That was a pretty exciting little interruption in the work, but now we had to get back to it.
Okay, see if you can pull that roll over here a little closer. And then we'll take some of those humps to see if you can pull it past those big chunks and stuff.
On the other end of the trench, near the building, we had already connected the hydrant to the poly and started running it down through the trench so that we could get started laying it out. So I had to spin the bucket around and dig out from underneath it a little bit before then turning it back around to finish pulling the rest of the material out of the trench. Sometimes it's just simpler to do it that way and make sure that the material comes out and away from the spool versus trying to get the backside of the bucket to push the material away. Once that was cleaned up and established, all I needed to do now was knock loose the little bit underneath the pipe.
That clay is like peanut butter.
Yeah.
Worse than peanut butter.
Yeah, it's like heavy and
Doesn't taste good.
real quite annoying.
Once we had that service valve shut off, we just needed to get the hydrant out of the way so that we could get the T threaded into place and the compression fitting that would attach to the blue poly. Then a short nipple and reinstall the hydrant back into place. That way we could connect the poly to the compression fitting, and this hydrant and the other hydrant would both be live on the same valve. This time I was going to make sure that the valve key tube stuck up far enough that I would know it was there.
These dang pigs keep invading my workspace. I think they like that spoils pile better than, I think if they had their way, they'd let me keep it out here for them. If I left it alone for a week, they'd have it all backfilled for me. Problem is, they may backfill in other places. Hey, stinkers. You're gonna have to move soon.
How many pigs is there? 6?
7 right here.
7.
It was getting late enough in the evening at this point that the pigs were tired of being on the job site and wanted to make it a bed. Not to mention, my helpers were also getting tired of being on the job site. So like any good foreman would, I called in the order and promised a pizza night if we could just stay at it and get the job completed all the way. They happily agreed to that, so we started backfilling the water line, and we backfill the trench down to about a 2-foot depth and then smooth it out so that we can bed down the conduit that's also going to go in this trench. That conduit sits about 2 feet above the water line, and the water line is at about 4 feet of depth. This way, the conduit is down deep enough that it won't be an issue, and we're also able to maintain the proper amount of separation between the power conduit and the water line. As I mentioned before, we don't have any intention of running massive amounts of power through this conduit, so I'm not installing a very large one. It's just a 1-inch PVC conduit for direct bury. That way we can easily run 1 or 2 circuits of power through this and still have room for expansion if we ever choose to. But at this point, however, I can't think of any reason we would need that much more power over there. Once we got these 2 buckets of gravel down in against the bottom of the hydrant so it could drain properly, we were able to turn it on, test it, and make sure everything was good. So the only thing left at this point was for me to backfill the rest of the trench and get it compacted. So at that point, the others were off the hook, and they could leave to go pick up the pizza and begin the pizza night that they had earned.
Okay, we got all this buried up the other day. We've had a bunch of rain since. It all turned out pretty good. We got it buried and flattened out, and we need to do some finish flattening. We still have a little bit of a hole over there at the front corner of the building where the hydrant is. We haven't buried that up directly yet because we still need to come from that corner with another conduit and come down through the corral this way, and then down off of the shoulder and down off behind the shop to go into that battery room. That conduit is going to connect these solar panels to our battery system in the battery room, and then we'll also bring power back up and have a small sub panel up here in this building to supply lights, a couple basic outlets there, and then through the other conduit to get lights and a couple basic outlets to the new coop that will go up hopefully before winter.